Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Tuesday and the webcam not working again Tuesday. Look at this, webcam being consistent about not working. Let's see if we can try to hide and show that. What's it gonna take to make the webcam work here today? Let's go edit it, turn it here, and then turn it over back. See if that works. It does. There we are. Look at that webcam working. Technology is always interesting. So, folks, welcome to the stream. My name's Aaron LeBeau. I am hanging out and writing some .NET code. So the repo is up and running up on the old GitHubs here. Let me make this bigger so you can kind of see it here. Let's see here. So if you're interested in checking out the code that I have, you can just go over to Biozal, BIOZAL .NET Custoda CRM. And that's what we're working on. Yesterday, we worked on getting some code refactored out. We talked a little bit about different developer kind of things. Today, I'm going to use Rider. So Rider is a replacement for VS Code. We're pouring one out for VS Code, by the way. VS Code for the Mac has been end-of-lifed. It is a crime and a shame. I am very sad about this. I have talked about it enough where I'm just not going to talk about it anymore. If you are interested in doing this kind of stuff where you're just basically doing .NET on the Mac, or Linux, and you're looking for some support, you probably want to go to Rider, because Rider is leaps and bounds better than VS Code. For C# support, for things like what we're doing today, this unnatural thing of doing storyboard files, there is no support for VS Code. So you want to hang out over in the Rider land here if you want to get this kind of support. In fact, we're going to go take a look real quick at our storyboard file again. So let's go take a look at that. Now you can see here when I double clicked on it, interesting enough, the storyboard file XML just came up, and we talked about that. That's what happens in VS Code also, which is not the behavior we want. We want the ability to open an Xcode. So how you do that is you right click on the main storyboard file, and then you say open in Xcode. And this should launch Xcode on my machine super fast, and there it is. We're ready to rock and roll here. Look at that. And then we can see our UI that we did. Now, remember I told you yesterday for storyboard files, this is your little scrubber, so you can kind of look around and see what's going on here. We have this new view and window that we've created. That this is going to be our main, and we want this window to be able to appear. Now, we need to be able to access this window. And so we can see here that we have the window here. This is for our window scene. And I think we should have made a type for this, right? We did main window controller. All right. What we should do is make a pointer to this inside of our current scene that we have. Okay, because this would be right here. If we can make a pointer to it here in our view controller, then we can, when we don't have to instantiate it, because the XAML will automatically handle it. That's my theory. Try to think here, because if it's in the storyboard file, one thing I don't remember is I don't think we can just new this up. Let's take a look at this Windows controller, and this should be interesting. I'm trying to think here. Let's go look at the code real quick in .NET and see what's going on here. If we look at the code for our new main window view controller, right here's our main window controller. All right. So you can see here, it requires the pointer handle, right? And this is the storyboard file. So the problem is, how do we new one of these up? How do you new a window controller via code in .NET? So let's go ask GitHub Copilot this question. I think we did yesterday. So it says that you could just do it new without having the pointer, but I don't think that that's the case. I think you have to have the reference to the in AppKit. I think there's two options here that we can review and kind of research. One of them if I remember, we can make a pointer, and that should pull it out of the story. Let's start with that. Let's not even start with code, because we're already in the storyboard. And since we're already made the decision we're going to use this, so we don't want to write in code if we don't have to. Let's try to see if we can use Xcode, abuse it, its ability to do cool things. So let's open up our header file inside of our authentication view controller here. And this is, we should see we have all of our delegates here, right? Our outlets, excuse me, not delegates. And what we want to do is we want to get this view controller right here. We want to get a pointer to that, so we want to make an outlet to that. Let's see if we can do that. It's not letting me drag. Let me try different. Yep. But I can drag the view though. Nope. Huh. Interesting. So if I drag anything from here, oh wait. Are we getting somewhere with this? Nope. So this should light up when we let go. Let me try to put color in there. Can we put color in there? No. Let's try the toolbar and add this to the window controller. So let's find the window controller header file. Here's our Windows. Oop, I wanted it over here though. And then what I want over here is the main storyboard file. Now I've done that backwards. Okay, well, Xcode, you can win. I'll do it over here. So let's go back to where we had that toolbar. I just want to make sure things are working right. So let's go find our main window controller here. And then we have a toolbar here. What I want to do is definitely get a pointer to this. So let's just, okay, so that does work. So we can say main toolbar. Our toolbar, TB main toolbar. I know TB stands for toolbar, but I shouldn't need to use the word toolbar afterward, but this could get confusing, so I'm gonna make a double name there on purpose. But what's happening is that I can't go into auth and add a pointer to the window. Let me try to add the pointer to this, just see if I can get yep, see, it won't let me. It kind of knows. I don't think that it knows that these two files aren't associated. All right, so that means that that's not gonna work. So let's go ahead and close out Xcode. And we need to figure out how we're gonna make one of these from the view controller. And this is, let's just make sure we remember what kind this is. This is a window main controller. It's an NS window controller. Save that. That writes some code for us. And now let's go back to GitHub Copilot and see if we can figure this out. How in C# can't use the code example to make the Windows view controller because it's defined in a storyboard file and it requires a integer int pointer. How can I create a new pointer, a new Windows view controller that was created in a storyboard file in C# using .NET. So we're going to ask the coding gods, our AI overlords, if they can explain to me, because we have this storyboard, so you can see, oh, hey, look at this. It requires access to story first. You need to get reference to the storyboard. Okay. This is all making fun. This is all making sense so far. Next, you instantiate the view controller using the pointer, right? So you'd say, okay, this is exactly what I was looking for. Bring it all together, VS Code. Bring it all together. I like that when you do that. Or not VS Code. Our AI overlords. Thank you for bringing it all together, AI overlords. That's nice of you. So this is what we need to do. We need to point to our storyboard file. Let's see if this works. We'll take this one step at a time. Well, let's take all the codes. We'll copy. We'll do what Matt says to do. Copy the codes. And let's go back over to Writer, and then we're going to get rid of the window main controller here, and we're in our delegate. So we made this method here that says show main controller. And so what we need to do here is put this code in, and we're going to say that this is from the main storyboard file is definitely named main. INS window controller is going to be of an instantiate, and it's going to be called main window controller. And we're going to say window controller make key our front, but first we had to close our old one. So we have some examples of how to do that here. So let's go back to our Copilot, and it told us how to do that earlier. So we're going to say, we're going to grab this code right here, and this should give us a pointer. Because we need to close the current login window, right? So let's go back here. Take a look here, back at Writer land here. So we're going to first say close current authentication window, and then bring up main window. So we need to say NS window, current active window equals, and then we can say if this is not null, now we have to close it. Current active window, close. And close. Why is it mad here? Let's see here. I think it's mad because this needs to be nullable like that. So it's context actions say to do. What's it say do it? It says don't even put the if statement in. Okay, Writer. Oh, this is probably saying that you can just use var here, because that's some proper C# here. So, and then we'll say now bring up new. So actually, we should probably do this right here. These two first, because we want the window to come up instantly after the other one closes. We're swapping out here, and that should be it. So if we authenticate in properly, we should come into our main window. Well, there's only one way to find out if this all works. Let's go ahead and click the build button. We're gonna cross our fingers. I'm gonna cross my eyes and toes. Okay, don't cross your eyes. That's actually bad for you. At least I remember when I was a kid, my mom saying, never cross your eyes. That's bad. We need to make this login window also have a image on it so that I can click on it, so I don't have to type in anymore. Acme.com, and then we're gonna say, I think it was password12 is the right one. There it is. There is our window, folks. Look at this. Holy crap. On a cracker. Look at this. We've got a nice window. Now, it defaulted to very small. I don't like that. I would like it to be bigger. I'd like it to probably be something like this, maybe. You know, most computer screens are at least 1920 by 1080, right? So we'd probably want it to have maybe, let's say 1,000. No, we need more than 1,000. Let's say 1,400 by 900. Oh, there's some laptops that are still 12 by 800, I bet. Let's make it that. We'll make the window default to 12 by 800. Now, how do we do that? All right, well, let's close our app out and get this thing closed. We're good. We are cooking with fire. Let's go back to our storyboard and open up Xcode. Open up an Xcode again. And let's take a look at here. We've got our code here, or excuse me, our design layout here with our storyboard file. We're going to go into here, find our main window. So we're going to use our scrubber here to find our main window. Here it is. This is our main window. Now, inside of here, we've got some constraints that we can put in. So one of the things we have should be the width and height. There's the constraint here, right? So we can constrain. Now, why? Oh, I bet you we have to constrain the window itself, not that. Let's go here, see if it's still not letting me do the window. Yeah, I should be able to set the width and height of the window. Here we go. The old school way. This used to be the old way, and there used to be these little things that you'd see here that were called they were like these little magnets, or they look like squiggly lines to a magnet, and that's how you used to set your stuff. But we're going to say that the content size is going to be bare minimum 1200 by 800. That's biggie. And we'll say the minimum content size is 1024 by 768, and the maximum size is unlimited. I like this. Let's go ahead and save this up. It's asking me if I want to save. The answer is yes, I would. Let's go ahead and try to run this again and see what happens though. Bum, 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 bum. We should be able to use also the symbols file to build some buttons on our toolbar, which would be kind of cool. Let's see here. We're going to say jane.doe at acme.com. Password 12, and try that. And we still got our old window size. Womp, womp, womp. That did not work. That's a bummer. What's clean? What do we do when we clean? What is the point of a clean? Well, sometimes things get cached, okay? And so when things get cached, you want to clean the project. That basically builds any of the, it deletes any of the cache. So you can clean by hand. It's not usually recommended. Now you'll see here, look, I did a clean and it's mad. It's like everything's red. Oh, you're bad. That's because we don't have a NuGet restore done. So we need to do a restore on our NuGet packages. And so that is under our ability to do NuGet. So let's find it here, NuGet. Let's do, you'll see here that, oh, how do I do a restore here? I want to do a restore. This is the management, but I just want to restore it. Like in VS Format, oh, right here, I bet you it is. There it is. That's button right here. Well, then let's build. We'll build the selected project, see if it's happy. See if we can get rid of the redness, because when I cleaned, it got mad. I was like, hey, I don't know what's going on anymore in the world. So we built, and now we're cool. Coolio here. All right. Now, of course, some of these writer mistakes are saying, hey, like the app delegate's never created. Well, that's because the storyboard file gets read by the main CS, and then it handles bringing up the app delegate. So we don't have to create it because the storyboard file in main will do that for us. And we just implement this right here, which is in Object-C called a protocol. But over here in .NET, this is obviously a class that we're overriding. This is a abstract class that we're adding some functionality onto. All right, here. So that's working. So, but we still don't have our view defaulting to what size we want it to be. And that's a little frustrating. Let's go back and take a look at our storyboard file here again and do some investigation work and see if I did a clean, because I was kind of semi-convinced that, oh, okay, I know what's going on here. The storyboard file is just cached, and so it didn't see an update, so it's just gonna make some assumptions here. So let's see here. This is main, this is view. So obviously when you're working off of a stream and I don't have my normal big monitors, this can get hard to see because the size and stuff of it. But normally I'm running on a 49-inch monitor. That's what this is that I'm currently streaming on. And I usually have a lot more screen real estate to play with because of the fact that I have this big monitor. So then I just open up Xcode really big and I get really happy with that. So let's see here. What's this? This is our ghost of our split view controller. And then this would have the two branches that we have for our main and our detail. And we want to be able to do that because we want to be able to send messages between main and detail. So if somebody selects something, we want to be able to tell detail to update, for example. And we want to be able to make some new icons in this toolbar. But the most important thing is I want this window to have some different size. So let's go back here and take a look at what the heck's going on here. I told it to be some sizes. I said content size 1200 and then minimum here, maximum here. We can say 20 and 20. That will tell where to initially draw on our screen. Let's make it 100. That makes sense to me. So we can't set constraints on this because it is not the main object, right? So we look here, and I don't want to constrain the margins. That would be a mistake. So let's close this out though and see if this fixes it. We'll save. We'll do a brand new build. Because we cleaned, there should be no bits. It should have to recreate everything over again. There's my window. Gotta also make the login register. Okay, that's better. That's better, but it was supposed to be up here, but that's better. I can deal with this. I do like this now. Look at this. We've got this pretty cool. So we gotta change a bunch of things. So one, we gotta change the title. We'll change the window here to say CRM. We'll change these buttons out. We need different buttons. But we're doing pretty well here. You can see here, look, we got for free the help menu, the window menu, the view menu. We could look at this. We can hide the toolbar and we can show the toolbar. We wrote no code for this. We could show tabs of the current window. Look at that. Hide tab bar. That's all built in. It's pretty sweet. If you think about it, full screen mode is built in. I think that's a bad idea. Can't see the stream anymore, so that was bad. But it works. We have font abilities to select fonts. We can save and close if we implement those. So honestly, Mac AppKit comes up with a lot of built-in functionality when you're using it. And that's one of the reasons I like it. Now you can have this about option and nothing happened. It just brought up this window right here. That is because it's built in. You can see here, it's trying to read from something called the info plist file. And whatever's in there, that's what it's going to draw up. And you can see .NET automatically had some stuff just built into this. We'll eventually want to change that out to our stuff, right? To be our app name. But we're making some good progress here. So I think we're going to need to get these constraints figured out and get this set up so that it's a certain size that I'm happy with. We need to get this changed out here. We need to get these icons changed out here. We got some work to do with this. I wonder if I could do this. Let's experiment a little bit here. I mean, the whole point of this is to do unnatural things, right? So let's do some experiments here. Let's say that we have the active window here. Right here, we have window controller, right? This is our new window controller. We should probably rename this main window controller so we know what that is. So let's refactor and rename this. We'll say main window controller. That makes me feel better. Let's say main window controller dot width window dot width. Nope. Size. Min size is going to be, and we need to make a CG point. Is it a CG point that it needs? That stands for core graphics, by the way. Core graphics, folks. That's what a CG is. What was that it takes? It's CG size. Okay. So we're going to say CG size dot I don't want that. I don't think you make a new CG size. You can. And it needs a double for width and height. And so we would say that the width would be, we said we wanted 1024 and then we want the max to be 768. That's what we wanted. And let's see if it's why it's mad here. Wait, what? Oh, it's a property, new CG size, and then we'll say 1024 768. I thought it was a method. Been doing too much other language programming here to remember properties versus that. Okay, so then we could say main window controller window, and then we'll see what other sizes do we have. We have max, we have content, min size, we have. I really want the content current size. Set content size. Oh yeah, let's do this then, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's say starting size. Let's see if we can get it to work via code. Equals new CG size. Let's go here. We're gonna say we wanted that. I think we said 1200 by 800, right? And then we'll just say starting size. You know what? Let's do this also the same thing. We'll just say here min size is gonna be starting size. All right, folks. We wrote some C# code. Now we shouldn't have to do this. The storyboard file when we change it should be, but it's not working. And now I'm gonna try to use a big baseball bat to hit the window and say, no, you need to be this size, be this size. Otherwise, I'm gonna hit you with my baseball bat. I don't recommend violence to your code. So that's probably not something that's good to say. So we shouldn't threaten our code like that. I don't like writing code like this if I'm using a storyboard file, because the whole point of a storyboard file is so you don't have to write code, right? But sometimes when something doesn't work, you got to try to figure out why it's not working. And then one of the things you can do is just go to code. Let's go ahead and log in. That has seemed to work. That is probably 1200 by 800. Okay. So then now that we just have to say the starting area, the starting point. And I don't remember what that was called, but let's go to our storyboard file, because our storyboard file does remember what it's called. Because we can derive the property name by looking at the storyboard value. So let's go open this in Xcode and see. And if we can get our window to open up where I want it to open, I think we can start working on, actually we can start working on toolbar icons now too, I guess. Let's take a look at this. This little friendly now window that's starting to finally listen to us and do what we asked it to do. Let's go to our window and let's see if this is it. This is it. Okay, perfect. Let's go to our window. We'll look here for our sizes. So there is, it's called initial position. So that's the next thing we want to be able to set. Let's go back to Rider real quick here and set that. Oh, there's a rule. I probably didn't explain this. Never make changes to your view controllers while you have Xcode open, because it could literally overwrite them. And that's really bad. Let's go look and see if the window size, if window, main window controller, window dot initial. I don't see initial size. Or an initial location. Neither one of those is what I'm seeing. Let's go back to Xcode and see what we saw in Xcode. Validate that name and position. Let's look for a search for position inside of here. Position, let's see. Will position sheet, convert, point screen. None of these are what I'm looking for. Let's ask our friends at Copilot. Let's ask our AI overlords. Okay. In C# using AppKit, how do I set the initial position of the window using C#? Let's see what the AI overlords have to say. They may have the answer to this. Yep. No, we're not using Xamarin Mac, but the rules should work the same way. We're just compiling with .NET instead of Xamarin. Yeah, okay, I got a reference. I'm with it so far. Yeah, I got it. Set the frame. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, we're setting the frame. That's a little dangerous. Oh, it's saying that instead of setting it, that we need to set it in the window controller and set its frame. Oh boy. And we have to override the window did load method. That's what it's saying to do. Well, that is not what I thought we'd have to do. I did not have that on my bingo card. So we have the starting size here. We can set that min size, but we're not going to set the starting size here. We're just going to make that our min size. And then we're going to have to go into our window main controller. And we have to override window will load, I do believe. Was that what a couple I said? I thought it was window will. Window did load, not will. Okay, well. 50% chance to get the right light cycle. Override window did load. And we're going to say here, pop this line of code in. We're going to say that we want 100, 100. Our width is going to be 1200 by 800. Let's set our min size to be 1024 by 768 again, though, because I think that that's a via old MacBook. Okay, that looks better. Oh, let's close Xcode too. You don't want to build with Xcode open. That's really bad. Let's go ahead and just make sure this puppy works. Then if it works, we can start playing around with some icons. Okay, that's cool. Jane.doe@acme.com and password. No hot reload here. Oh, password's name's wrong. And I gotta override the login button. There we are. There we are. That's looking a lot more slicker. We'll see here. See how I can't make it any smaller than 1024 by 768. That's rocking in the free world. I do like it. All right, let's make some other changes in Xcode now to get this a little bit more where I want it. Let's go to edit in Xcode. I spent a lot of time going back and forth when I'm using storyboard files between Xcode and Rider or VS for Mac. Used to be VS for Mac, now obviously Rider. Let's bring our little inspector up here again and find our main view controller here. And this should give us our main view. So let's see here, main view. There's our view. Let's put some constraints on this. Why can we not set? Well, I don't want that. We can't put a constraint here because that's not a UI element. Layout margins. This is our main view. Okay, that's the text inside of the view itself, though. So safe area. So safe area is keeping it away from the camera bump on a laptop. I believe that's why we have safe area here, if I understand correctly. I know safe areas exist in iOS for the keeping the virtual swipe up and down. You know, the bring up the apps that are running. So there's a little bar at the bottom. The safe area keeps it so you can still select that thing and drag up to get your running apps. And that's why I use safe areas in UIKit. But here, one thing I'm trying to figure out is what this layout margins are actually doing for us. Here's our layout guide. Usually the values would be in here so you could set them. I don't see any values. Let's say layout guide used to replace placeholder views where you have created to represent the initiative space or capsulation in your user interface. These were used in auto layout techniques required a placeholder view. A placeholder view is an empty view that does not have any elements of its own, only serves a rectangular region. If you want to use constraint to find the size or location of empty space between the views, you need to use a placeholder view to represent that place. Yeah, okay. So there's a number of costs associated with adding a placeholder view. So that's what this is supposed to do. Okay, so this is saying it's a very efficient way to lay out your shit. Pardon my French here. I should say stuff. Well, then why can't I set the constraints on it or the values of it? That's my frustrated part here. I have this main view that I want to be able to set the layout margins on. What constraints do we have? Oh, so we're just saying that's going to be centered, but I want the layout margins. All right, so how do I change the NS layout guide? What's that? This. In C# using AppKit, how do I change the values to make the default width wider? So I can make a pointer to it and then I could just set it. I've added it. Well, it's added that to me already. Don't want to add a constraint file code. That's what we have storyboard files for. I know someone's going to read this and go, this is why you don't use storyboard files. If you have a layout guide and a constants-wide interface builder, then you create an outlet for the constraint in question and adjust its constants property. Remember, constraints only makes them considered part of the system. Playing with it won't necessarily result in a visible change unless the constraint. With that, but it's a placeholder. That's what the docs literally said. So, I mean, it should work. If worst case scenario, I'll throw something in there, and then I can set the something real in there, and then we can set the constraints that's whatever's real in there, right? Maybe we should just do that and stop fighting this, right? It's a good idea. Stack. I know I'm gonna want a vertical stack, so let's take a vertical stack and pop it in here, and then we'll put our main view inside here. And now this stack layout, we can basically put some constraints on it. We could say that nope, it needs to be 0, 0, 0, 0, and we're gonna say its width is gonna be 200, 220. Have 5 constraints. Bing, bada boom. And then let's go into our stack view and tell it to be centered. Equal center. And we want this to be centered. Oh, do we? Probably not. Put spacing at 20 between the items, and then this person right here, this little thing here, we will probably want to put a constraint on it, but we really don't care about it right now, because we're going to pop that out with a table in a little bit here. But that should fix that. All right, let's see here. So we fixed one thing. Now we need to get rid of some of these buttons. We want these buttons to do something else. So let's see here. Here's our toolbar. And we don't want a toolbar color. We don't care about printing. But we do need a new toolbar item. I don't even think we care about fonts. Let's go toolbar item. Here's the toolbar item. Drag that in. There's our toolbar item. Cool, huh? We'll kill that. We'll say that we want space and flexible space. So the very first thing, we're gonna need a couple of these toolbar items. So let's go here. We're gonna want companies. We're gonna want contacts. We're gonna want make another toolbar item for campaigns that we're gonna run on our CRM. Excuse me for the hydration break while I drink a little bit of Sprite Zero. No product placement. I don't get paid for this, but I don't like sugar. I haven't drank sugar or caffeine in many years, so I don't drink that. And for those of you in chat, welcome to the stream. We're working on a Mac application using .NET, something very taboo. And so you can see here that we've got our ability to add things like space in here, so we could even duplicate this space. Put it. Okay, that was a bad idea. Xcode did not do what I wanted it to do there. Can I duplicate? Just cut UV here. Nope. Okay. Okay, Xcode. Fine. Space. Let's just put space toolbar item here. We'll put space toolbar item and we'll put it right in here. Get in closer. Why doesn't it want to let me put it in there? Nope. Why can't I drag it into the toolbar? That's weird, right? I'm not the only person thinking that that's a little weird. Where did our toolbar go? No, I lost our toolbar. Why can't I see our toolbar? Huh. Let's undo a couple things here. Well, there it is, not showing up. Huh. So how did I do that? Oh. Oh. Bet you this is what's going on. I bet you have to put a space here. Bet you have to drag it into here. Nope. That's really interesting that... So it looks like this is the toolbar icon that will show. I double click on it and it just brings me to the top here. And if I click anywhere, it brings me up the ability to select which icons are there, but I want to put another space there. Space toolbar item. I mean, that's usually what I would do, but I don't want it in first responder. I don't want it here. I want it in this toolbar, but I can't seem to drag it there. Yeah, and I can't cut and paste it either. That's really interesting that I was able to drag the regular toolbar items over there, right? Oh, so if I select any of these, this is what's bringing it up. So let's try toolbar item again. Just drag this in over here, see if it works. Okay, so that's working. So a toolbar item is working, and I added another toolbar item. Okay. Oh, we do need a settings. No, we'll do, well, yeah, we'll do settings from the menu. So toolbar space should be the same thing, but it will not drag into there for some reason. So that makes me believe that the protocol is not set right to where, for whatever reason, Xcode doesn't think they can use it. See if there's anything else that says space. Can I drag a flexible in here? I can't drag a flexible either. That is really interesting. And if I try to bring one in, I don't get it either. I'm not sure what the answer is to why this is doing this. Let's see if we can just get our toolbar items set though. Let's not spend a huge amount of time. So we can do system and we can say company, or building right here. So then we're going to call this its value, its title. Let's see here. Companies. Why? Oh, label, not title. So there we go, companies, and then we'll go to our next toolbar icon. This is going to be our contacts. So let's go for person. And we are doing non-filled. So let's make sure we keep that. We're going to say contacts. There's our contacts. And then our final toolbar icon, we're going to take and we'll want action. Need some kind of action thing. None of these are really what I'm looking for. Play. These are campaigns, basically. I'm looking for something we can use for the campaign icon. Workflow? Nope. Running. Run. What do I get here? We'll just do that. We'll call this campaigns. And we'll say campaigns. These are going to be our main 3 features inside the product, but we also will need some things like to control the industry codes and stuff. And I think we can steal those from, well, I shouldn't say steal, that's a bad word. We can borrow those from the internet, I think. Okay, we've got this. And so when we click on one of these toolbar icons, we'll need to go through and handle the event and switch the main view over to that. But let's just start with this and see what we get. So one, our window here, title, we're going to call this CRM. For lack of originality, we're just going to call this .NET CRM. This is our .NET CRM system. Let's go ahead and close this out and see if our UI changes worked. Let's see, lunch stream. I started late because I had some meeting stuff, so we have a little bit longer on the lunch stream to go. We usually try to stream 1 hour every day. So let's see here. We got our window open. Let's try this. Jane.doe at acme.com. And I think I'm gonna have to go backwards and fix this screen a little bit more once we get this stuff working all right. So no toolbar icons. Show toolbar. Okay, show toolbar. Customize toolbar icons. We want to put company up there. We want to put contacts. We want to put campaigns, and then we want to put some spaces in between this, and there, and there. There, look at that. So we can set up our toolbar icons if we want. They don't do anything right now, but we have some stuff that we could do with them. We probably can make a menu item for this also, right? Let's just try to think. How do we force the toolbar to have a default toolbar icons so that we don't have to do this? The user should have to drag these out. It should be by default. Let's go back into our storyboard files. See what we can't do about that. Go back to Xcode. So that's what's going on there, is that these icons, now I see what kind of is going on here. This toolbar, when you click on it, these are the ones that the user can use. But right here's the default. So let me do this. I think I could do this. I think I could say here, and I think I could say here, and then I could say contacts, and then I think I could say here, and then I could say campaigns, and I can do flexible space. I'm done. That should be what we have by default. Okay, that's pretty badass. Let's go ahead and save that. See if that works. Totally makes sense. Let's go ahead and run this puppy. Let's clean first. We changed a bunch of stuff, and oh, we gotta stop it first. It's not running. Okay, well I can't. Oh, clean solution. Here we go. So we just cleaned. Everything's red because it's bad. Then we're gonna build again. And now the theory would be is that anything I did should be gone because I cleaned it, which deleted all the files associated with the build and anything I had set in preferences. So the app should be like brand new. Jane.doe at example.com. Oh, not example, it's Acme. Different. Acme.com. And then we're going to say password 1, 2. And there we are. We have our default toolbar icons and stuff. Maybe it's a little screwed up here because I don't have any padding on it, but we'll fix that later. And we're going to default the companies would load in. And then if you hit contacts or campaigns, that should switch. So that's, I mean, we're making pretty good progress here, to say the least. We may want a search bar here also, because people may want to search. So let's figure that out. And then I think we'll have our UI laid out pretty cool. Coolio? I think so. Let's see here. Bum, 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 bum. I'm going to also record. I don't know if I should stream this. I'm going to record some custom music for my channel. Because getting licensed music is really hard. I think I'm going to release all the music open source. I don't know how to do that, but I would like to just give away the music for free. I do play music from time to time. You can see some guitars in the background there. I have a very large collection. I don't play anymore that much. I used to play in bands a long time ago, but those days have since moved on. So let's go here, go back here, go here, bring it down here, and then we're going to say here. That's looking like a proper iOS application, guys, folks, team. And then let's put some spacing at the end of here. Yeah, I want space though here, I think. No, I want space on the other side. I don't want flexible space. Actually, that does look bad. That looks more normal like iOS. Get to do spaces? Get to do spaces one after another? I can. Okay. Okay. Being aggressive here. Being aggressive. I like it. I want the spaces. All right. Okay. That's looking pretty cool if you ask me. All right. We would need to tell our window view controller here, our window controller here about the search. And so search would, we would need to get another view open here. And this will be to our code. And if we go here, we have our window. This is our main window controller header. We need to make some outlets. We can do some stuff then. So we're going to call this search toolbar search bar. And that will be an outlet to our search so that we can get some events on that. So if somebody goes in and fills something in there, we can handle that. We want to know when somebody clicks on any one of these. So we're going to say this is an action. And I think we could say, I think we can do this like this. I think we can make actions for each one of these. No, we can't. I'm pretty sure we can't now. I think about it. It doesn't work that way. I remember getting burnt by this before. Let's go ahead and go into our action, our mappings there and take that out. Let's just bring these in. They're not buttons, they're toolbar icons, and they work a little bit different. I'm starting to have some flashbacks of one of the apps I used to work on. Let's just make a reference to the item. We'll handle this as an outlet. So we'll say toolbar item. This is companies. And then we'll make a to the contacts. Toolbar item contacts. And then we'll make an outlet to our campaigns. Toolbar item campaigns. That's a good way to get started. Now sometimes you would have your own personal profile in here. You know, you'd have like a picture of you and your ability to like change your settings. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. That's more of a web thing, but it's not a bad idea. Let's search for toolbar. What do we got here? We got, we need another toolbar item. We're going to call this profile. Reject. And we're going to say this is your user profile. So let's get over here to our properties. And we need to drag this around though. Let's drag this in after search. This toolbar item is going to be called my profile. And we'll call it my profile. And we'll make this image name person. And then what we need to do is we need to change contacts to be group. Person.group, I think it's called. Where's person group? Nope. Person 2. There we go. All right. I think we are looking good here. We just need a pointer to this my profile also. So we have an outlet on this, right? We do. Okay. So the last one we need is my profile. But my profile is in the wrong spot. It should be over after search. No, I didn't mean to do that. Come back, come back. Default toolbar items. Include my profile. Can I undo that? My profile's there. We need to make a space there. Let's make this bigger so we can see it better. Minimize our code and drag a space here. We want it between our search. That's pretty cool. Do we want that flexible space though? What does flexible space look like if we do flexible space here and space here? How does that look? Ew, that looks terrible. That looks terrible. I like my profile being at the end. I like having some space. But I just don't know if flexible space is going to be the answer or just single space. Because flexible space will chew up anything that's available between it. I don't think I want that. I think what I want is just regular space. I think that's what we're going to be looking for here. Okay, done. And then what we just need to do is be able to say my profile here. Make an outlet to that. Now I can't remember. I think so. I think we can do this. Nope. First of all, let's kill this action because we didn't need that after all. And then make this smaller again so we can see our code. Then one more outlook to my profile. We're gonna say toolbar item my profile. Okay. Check this, and then we should be able to go through and say, this all looks good. I like this. I like this. I like this. Let's go ahead and close Xcode, and it'll ask us to save. We definitely want to save that stuff. Let's see if our view controller updated. Main window view controller. Let's go look at our outlets. We've got some outlets. All right. So now we got some outlets. Let's go see if we can see in the window main controller if we can set up a delegate on this. All right, so we need an event, but we don't know what kind of event we need just yet. So we don't want it when the window, well, I guess when the window loads, we could set that. We could just say this.toolbar. Let's start with my profile. Dot, and then we'll see here if what do we have for options? Invoke binds, did change value, respond to selector. Activator looks like it's the thing I want. Let's try that. Plus equals. And we're just going to say my profile clicked. And then what we need to do here is go and create a parameter All right, it's not happy about that. We'll make our own then. Private void my. First of all, it needs to be capital my. Pixel.net. My profile clicked. We'll say object sender event args e. And now that should do that. What? Why is it mad though? No, it's happy. Let's say just console line my profile. No, it does something. Can't be mad about that anymore. But now we have to override the window load unload. Override window unload. Unload. Disappear. Window will uh-oh. This is not good. How do I know when a window's going to close? Oh, we can have multiple windows. That's going to be another problem. We got to deal with memory here, folks. Somebody's going to say, well, just do a lambda. But that's not going to work. That's going to keep a pointer to activated. And if we have multiple windows, it's going to keep different profile, which is fine because technically speaking, if it was another window, it'd be a totally different window that would pop up if you click on that. Be a message to that particular Windows one, so it's not necessarily bad. But we need to find out how what the event is for when a window closes so that we can get rid of this pointer. Where is my Copilot? And okay, C# using AppKit. What life cycle event runs when a window closes so I can remove a delegate from pointer from a function from a button. Clean up memory. Hydration break. All right, see here. Window will close, it says. Okay, well, hey, I like window will close. I did not see that, but we were not looking for it either. So let's override window will close. Override window will. I see window will load. I don't see window will close. I wonder if this is not mapped, and we may have to do a custom mapping to it. Let's go back to our friends here and see what they say here. We have to implement the window delegate. All right. All right. Because it's a delegate. So we have to say that, so there's an easy way to do this in .NET. That's kind of cheating, but works. You could say that right here where we inherit, we could say that we also are of type NS window delegate right here. And then if I say I am a INS window delegate here, now what I could do is I can implement override window will window will close. I'm implementing this interface. The interface should have on it that let's go to inspect this. Yes, I want to look at what the interface says on it. Window should close. Window, let's see here. We're looking at the source code to see what it will handle events for. Will, did. There it is. So it's saying that the method name is called will close. So that's what the problem is. It's different. So we would say override will close. Or just say public void will close. What's the signature on that puppy? What's it saying here? All right, so this is getting into a little trickiness inside of how we do this thing. So it takes a NS notification according to this. Window will close. Let's try this to see what happens. Go back to writer, and we'll say that this is it. And then what we have to do is in here we have to say window dot delegate equals self, or this. Okay, that's registering me, this view controller, as the delegate of it. So now what should happen is will close should happen, and we should be able to say, hey, if this closes, let's just do a console. Well, we should say this dot tb profile dot activated minus equals my profile clicked, and that should fix memory. But we should also put a console in here. Console right line. See if this file console right line. Hey, Clive, how's it going? How you be using pre-made authentication system or just plain hashing and salting? I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with that yet. I might do Azure AD actually. That's usually one of the things I do for companies, and if this was a CRM system, it'd probably be that. With Azure AD, I could do B2C, business to the consumer, which means I could do like GitHub and all the other authentication, and that's pretty easy to set up, Azure AD usually. I could go OAuth and do that also, or I could just make GitHub, or like you said, I could just hash passwords. Right now, I haven't thought about it all that long. I've really got a mock system, and that's good enough for me right now as I'm working through UI and stuff. Let's see here. Will close fired. Not sure if this is going to work yet. I'm not 100% convinced. This is how I used to, from my memory. It's been on, let's see, 2014 was the last time I did this. So that's 9 years ago. 9 years ago, folks. So my memory's a little hazy from 9 years ago, but I'm remembering most of the things I should probably remember that are important. But I can't remember, is will close work, or do I have to use the original method signature? I looked at the interface, and the interface made it look like it's mapping to the ladder. So if I go context and go to navigate to this, or inspect this, and if I just double click on this, this should give me the interface. And these are the protocol members it's saying, right? And so what I was looking for is, this is the name that it's expecting, and this is the selector, or the object C code it's going to fire. Okay. And so what we are looking for, and you can see here, this is like an object C name. And so what we're looking for is window will close right here. And they're saying window will close fires off of the name will close. And so that's what I'm taking as the answer to what I think this method needs to be. We register ourselves as the delegate for this particular window. So we should see if this happens. So we can test this though. Let's go ahead and run. What are your opinions about AI affecting the programming job market? You seem to be using AI a lot in automation of your workflow. Absolutely. Love AI, man. AI is the future. I don't know what to say. Look, I've been around for a really long time. kind of old. I am headed towards 50 very quickly here. And when I started, there was no Windows Forms development that was really out there. There's VB. .NET didn't exist yet. I started professionally programming in 96. And back then, there's just most of the stuff didn't exist. JavaScript didn't even really exist yet. And so all these platforms you're talking about, they didn't exist when I started. And what I'm getting at is that I have only been doing this for about close to 30 years. Well, let's see, what is that, 27 some change? But the theory would be things have changed so much. I've had to adapt over and over again in my career. I had to move from C to C++, from C++ to Java to .NET. I've done obviously Object-C. I've done Swift. I've done, when mobile came out, that was a big shift for me. And I even did .NET Mobile Micro, which was this old Windows Phone framework that used to run on Windows CE. It was called this embedded platform. I did some of that. But every single time new technology came out, like mobile came out, and I had to learn Object-C and Java for Android, and then obviously now Kotlin is new in Android, and Jetpack Compose and all these things. Every single time technology changes, I've had to learn new things. And you either learn those new things and your career continues to grow and you continue to build up, or you say, I don't want to learn that new thing, and then you get left behind. You become the person that, oh, you're the old AS400 programmer, and all you do is, COBOL on an AS400. Well, those jobs eventually dry up, and you're left with nothing. And so I've watched this happen to friends that have basically stayed on whatever platform they want, and I've watched them become irrelevant in the job market. And I have bills to pay. I never want to be irrelevant. So I'm going to use whatever tool I need to be efficient. And look at that. We've got our new thing here. We can see here we've got all of our toolbar the way we wanted it. Let's close that window. I want to see whether or not we get a message in our application log. Because if we didn't get a message in our application log, that's going to be a problem, because that tells me that that event's not firing. So let's see here. This is terminal problems get. That's the run. That should be the application log in here. I don't think that ran. Well, we could put a, what am I thinking? We could put a breakpoint here. What am I doing with my life here? Let's go back to our .NET program. Now, this is what most people don't know. You can have multiple windows. And I did not code multiple windows, so that's not going to work. Let's run it again. We'll debug this time. The debug button here on the toolbar is important because that tells the debugger that we can have watchers and all the other things that are important instead of debugging in .NET. So that's different than running. Hackme.com and password. I need to get that logo in here so I can not have to type this password anymore. Right, so there we are. We're going to close the window, and our breakpoint didn't fire. That means that we'll close the net fire. All right. And Copilot told us it was a different method. Copilot said it was window will close. Let's try that, and if that doesn't work, we'll implement a class that does the delegate inside here and see if that fixes it. The interface may be different than the implementation for some reason. So let's just go here and say window will close and try that. And see if this fires now. Like I said, I'm just trying to cheat. I remember using the interfaces. COBOL has maintained 60% of banking systems. I don't think maintaining legacy code is bad. No, depends on where you are and who you want to work for, right? I used to work for an accounting firm for many years, and they had a pretty big AS400. I did in 1999. I helped do a conversion for Y2K on an AS400 using Data Mirror, and which is a product that IBM eventually bought. So believe me, I understand it. I'm just saying that I don't want to be in that market. I don't want to work on AS400. I want to be relevant. I want to make money, and I don't want to have to worry about the 3 banks in the world or the 4 or 5 banks or whatever are that are still running AS400s. I don't want them to be my only solution. I want to go to healthcare and be able to have a job, or go to whatever industry is the one that's paying the most at the time. And the only way to do that is to basically make yourself so that you have so much knowledge that anybody will want you. That's just me. You can do what you want in your career, but that's the solution I've come up with. And I like, so the delegate's not firing either way on the interface. So even though we've told ourselves we're going to be the delegate for this, it's not working. So another way to do this is we will we'll keep this code. Since we're only going to be a window controller delegate for this, we could That goes against my big rule of putting code in the same file when there is a storyboard associated with it. We're going to do a brand new class. We're going to call it a main. We'll call it main window delegate. And we do want to add that in. And so we have to go look at the signature for this. This is, we have to inherit from NS window delegate, and then we can override from that. So this is what they call an abstract class in C#. This is the ability to have something that has some code automatically associated with it. And we can then say, so now we're gonna have a different problem though, because when we override this, it won't have a pointer to the things that we need to get rid of. So we'll have to pass them in. So we'll have to take in some, this gets a little trickier because we will have to pass in the things that we want it to do. So you'll see here that we have like this activated. So we would have to pass in the thing that we want it to run. But let's just see if we can get this worked. So the way to get this working is just to see whether or not we can get this to fire. And we'll say main window delegate. We'll say public void. Let's just try overriding, see what happens. Fine. Window will close. There we are. Yay. Okay. Ah, that's not what we wanted. Let's try that again. We'll close. There we want. This is what we want. And we should be able to do that. And then let's see here. Are you only able to develop Swift apps on the macOS? If not, why not use something like Arc, Linux, or development? Are you only able to develop Swift apps on macOS? I'm not sure how to answer that. This is not a Swift app. This is a AppKit. Swift is a programming language. AppKit is a framework that you use to draw into the screen. And honestly, with AppKit, you could use many different languages to write an AppKit. You can use Object-C, you can use Swift, you can do C#. That is Apple's rendering framework that draws widgets on the screen. It's one of several. So Apple also supports another one called Swift UI. Now, Swift UI specifically is built for Swift. And so if you're trying to make a Mac OS application and you're trying to build it on Mac and get it to run on Mac, the native solution, which is I'm always about because that's the best user experience. You're going to have things like the split bar and stuff. All the things that are normally running on a Mac, well, that you want to either use Swift UI or AppKit. Can you use other frameworks to make an Mac application and not use Apple's built-in drawing widgets? Yes. You can use Flutter if you wanted to. Flutter can make a Mac application. You could use JavaScript and use something called Electron. That would absolutely allow you to do that, but those aren't native running applications. They're native in the fact that it's running as a binary, but the components, the controls that render on the screen are not native. They're not what all Mac applications use. You're using web or you're using some other framework. In Linux, you could use something called GTK Sharp, and that is the GNOME toolkit, and you could do that if you wanted your app running on a Mac to look like a Linux application. I don't want my app on my Mac to look like a Linux application. I want to make it look like a Mac application because I care about the user experience. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing this. But could you use GTK Sharp and use .NET and make a multi-platform OS UI that worked on both Mac and Linux? Yes, you absolutely could. Also, there's something called Avionian and Uno. Both those are also .NET platforms that allow you to make Mac OS applications. So Uno is called Uno Platform. In Uno Platform, you would use XAML, and you'd use WinUI 3 particularly for your UI. And you can make it run on anything. You can run on iOS, Mac, Windows, Android. It's got all kinds of controls. It uses WinUI 3. So if you understand XAML and WinUI 3, this is a perfectly great way to make a cross-platform application that won't use native controls, right? Because it's going to use their rendering engine for that. And then Avalonian UI. This is another company that makes the ability, and this is actually open source, and this gives you the ability to make a Mac OS application, a Linux, iOS, Android, Windows. It looks like you also could do Tigen, which is Samsung stuff, and you can make this entire application, and it's in .NET, and the UI again is also XAML. Now this is the difference between these two platforms. This platform for drawing uses Skia Sharp. So it's like Flutter. It uses Skia, which is Google's drawing framework to draw the widgets. So a button on the screen is not a native a macOS button. It's a Skia Sharp button that they've written. So the application, when you write it, will look the same on Windows as it does on Mac. You ain't gonna have any custom like UI in the sense that if you want to use like UI split view, unless Avalonian has a control for that, it doesn't work, right? You're gonna be locked in to what Avalonian provides as user controls, or you have to write your own, writing Skia Sharp and your own rendering to do that. But you can see they have all kinds of examples here of mail applications and stuff, and this is also perfectly fine. Why am I sticking with macOS for development? Because of user experience. If I'm a Mac user, which I am, I want the best user experience. I want my app to look like all the native apps. And when I want my app to look like all the native apps that Apple writes, then I want to write however Apple wrote them. And also, it's because this stream is kind of titled Unusual Things. It's unusual to use AppKit with .NET. Most people just use Swift, right? So this is unusual things you can do with .NET. It's standard to use Uno, or it's standard to use Avalonian. And so because my stream is really designed to talk about things that nobody wants to talk about that are totally viable as options, just a reminder that Visual Studio for the Mac, this little thing that they end of life, but is a really great application, this is written the same way. This was written in .NET using AppKit. So this entire application, literally, you could create doing the exact same code I'm doing right now in Rider. I mean, they wrote an entire IDE, Visual Studio for Mac, using C# and using AppKit. That's pretty cool. I mean, there's something to be said about that. That's like, okay, it's that powerful that you can do that big of a UI in it. I've done this before, and honestly, I'm just putzing around. I just like this version of how to code. But I've literally made it so that, and there's a spoiler alert for future streams, all the actual business logic for the application will live inside of this CRM lib. And technically speaking, I can implement 5 different UIs in it, and all my business logic will be shared in here in this library that can be shared between any one of the UIs. So I could add in this macOS project. I can make another project for Avalonian. And I can say, I'm going to now write the UI in Avalonian, and I'll just reuse my C# code I have here. And that's how I used to do development a long time ago before Xamarin Forms or Maui existed. When we built mobile apps, we would build a library, had all of our shared code, and we'd write a separate iOS and Android UI application using that shared business logic. And I did a mini application like that, to tell you the truth. Linux is all right. Well, Linux is... you know, if you want to make a native Linux application, one of the problems is what rendering... What Windows renderer are you using, right? There's GNOME, there's KDE, there's so many different ones. And so when you write for KDE, but you're using some other windowing engine, unless it knows how to render KDE stuff, and that's, what the heck's that framework called? I can't think of the name of it now. It wouldn't work in Linux. And that's the problem with Windows, that it's so fragmented, that there's so many different Windows managers and so many drawing engines that most of the time, at least in Linux, I see a lot of people using Electron, using JavaScript, and building your apps that way, or Flutter is really popular too, and that's cool too. Were you always a desktop developer? No, actually, most of the time I've done web, to tell you the truth. If you looked at my entire career spread out, I've done more web development than anything else in my career. I did a lot of jQuery back in the mid-2000s. I did a lot of JBoss stuff, which is Java with web-based technology. I've done a lot of ASP.NET technology. But about 2008 or 9, iOS came out, the iPhone came out, and it changed everything. And at that point in time, I was pretty good at writing Object-C because I'd done a couple Mac applications. And so I took a spin at iOS, and it changed my life. And ever since then, I've actually been a mobile developer. Most of the last, I would say especially probably the last 10 years of my career have been heavily focused on mobile. The cool thing is that if you know iOS mobile, you pretty much know Mac. The differences are so minute that if you know one, you can learn the other. So like UIKit is Apple's framework for drawing iOS applications. AppKit is the one for Mac, and there's very little differences between them. And I've written enough desktop applications where I know the little pitfalls of what I'm going to run into and how to fix them. At least in AppKit. I'm not an expert of Swift UI yet. I have a separate stream I normally do that I do Swift UI on. And that's where I'm teaching myself Swift UI with the community and AI to kind of learn the differences between the two of these. So that's everything you can know about me from the standpoint of my development career. But I would consider desktop actually the minimum amount of applications. I've only done, oh, let's see, I have to count. I might not be able to count, but I would say probably less than 20 desktop applications I've done in my career. And I'm trying to be frugal in that number compared to web, where I can't even count how many different web things I've worked on over the years. It's too many. So what we're going to do is we're going to make one of these now. We're going to say var delegate. Oh, we don't want to use delegate because that's a keyword. We'll say window delegate equals main window delegate. We'll pass it this as a pointer. And we'll need that because we need access to the other stuff here. So we're going to ctor. And we need to make that a weak reference is going to be my guess. And so we'll say this is or what is this? Main window controller. Window controller. And we'll say private read-only weak reference of type main window controller. Window controller. This is important so that we don't keep if we keep a reference, so if you double reference something, if the delegate has a pointer to the window controller and the window controller has a pointer to the delegate, they have pointers to each other, which means their reference counters will never go down, which means both of them stay in memory forever and they can never clean each other up. That's technically speaking a memory leak. That's a bug. And so the only way to do that is you have to tell one of them to be weak, which means don't modify your reference counter when you make a pointer to it. So then we could just say window controller. And I think I have to say value though on this. I think it is yeah, it's a target equal to, this is what it is. And this will set the window controller to that. Oh, we'll have to say window controller equals new weak reference main controller. And then we set the target. That should work. Why is it mad here? Oh, I can just send it here. Okay. I'll have to set the target L. Okay, perfect. Cool. That will give me a pointer to the window controller. That means I can actually get access to the toolbar icons and all the methods and stuff. And that means I can unregister the memory when it's done. So now all I have to do is take this and do this. And why are we mad here? Let's see if we can figure out this. Oh, we forgot the new keyword. Why do you use .NET? Is there some feature you can't find anywhere else? I've used it for a long time, and I like it. I could use Swift. I could use Kotlin. I know that. I know Java. I could use Flutter with Dart. I could do web. I could do React Native if I wanted to. I just happen to like .NET quite a bit. I think C# is a relatively sexy and elegant language. And it's a lot of fun to write in. My job right now, my job that I work at, the company I work at, I don't have any .NET projects I work on right now, and I kind of miss writing in .NET. So when I did my streamed my lunch stream, I decided, hey, I'm going to do just a bunch of stuff in .NET that I miss doing. That's fun because this is my lunch stream, so it's my lunch personal time. So I thought this would be a lot of fun to do. So we're going to take this away. We're going to say window delegate instead. And there's no more reason than that. .NET runs anywhere, runs on Linux, runs on everything, and it gets a bad rap because Microsoft's name's associated with it, right? Django's fine. Django is more of a Python thing. I've done some Python code. I wrote one of the learning paths for Couchbase, the company I work at, in Python, and then another person, Nitish, kind of took over for me when he got hired because he's a real Python developer, where I know computer science. And I can write Python by reading the documentations, but my code does not look like I'm a Python writer because I don't know all their little stupid syntax. Like they like snake case, and I just don't like snake case. So not a fan of Python from that standpoint. I think Python's an elegantly simple language. It's pretty cool, but having to like write snake case all the time is just, it's not my cup of tea, to tell you the truth. If I could just write Python like I write JavaScript code, for example, I'd probably use Python way more often. It's still great if you're trying to script something. If you're trying to do like some build process or script and stuff like that, Python's such a great Swift Army knife. It's like the replacement for Perl, which I used for years for these kind of things. And then Next.js is just a add-on for JavaScript, and I think everybody's used it for something before. It's all right. It's not bad. With React, it's okay if that's what you're trying to build. If you're trying to build a static website, Next.js makes that easier for yourself. You can just do it by hand. You don't need Next.js per se. There's a lot of frameworks out there these days that are based on React that can help you with that. But Next.js is pretty popular. I'm not gonna lie, and I think just about everybody that's done web stuff has somehow at least looked at Next.js before. These days, password. We're gonna try this and see if this works. No, we'll probably have to stop the lunch stream for the day because I do have to get back to work. So we're gonna close this window. Oh, we forgot to put a breakpoint in. Let's put that breakpoint in. We want this breakpoint love right here. We want to make sure that this happens here. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and bring our .NET application back up and close this window. My breakpoint still didn't fire though. Oh wait, it wasn't set. Why didn't it get set? Yeah. Set Panda. Let's try that again. Okay, I definitely have a breakpoint set now. And we are set. I'm just making sure here, main window delegate, that's cool. I am saying here, make the delegate. Let me set the delegate here. And we probably should do base first and then do this stuff because that could overwrite this. And we don't, technically speaking, need this keyword. I was just using it so I could save myself some typing. That seems right. All right, let's try this and see what happens now. See if my breakpoint fires and if I get anything in the debug output. But Clive, I do appreciate you for coming to chat and hanging out over on YouTube. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions to the best of my ability. I will say that I am human, and for that I'm flawed. So my opinions aren't always the right ones. But I can share with you at least what I've done in my career to be successful and be where I am. There it is. It's firing. Cool. All right. That means that when close happens, now we can go through and do some cool stuff. So we can say here, we can say this. We can see we have a window controller. So we're going to say, well, we got to get a pointer to that. So we'll have to say window controller dot, we want to, so yeah, we'll have to make a out for it. So we'll say main window controller, and then we'll have to say var did get controller equals window controller. I know this syntax is not the greatest in the world, but we need to validate that we can get it, and this is using pointers. So we'll have to say window controller. And what should happen now is that, let's see if this works. Out. Yep. And then we'll say here, oop, undo. What's going on here? Why am I'm not undoing? There we go. And then we'll say if did get controller and window controller is not equal to null. We know that we got our weak reference out because this is a wrapper for it. And now we have our window controller here that we could say window controller dot tb item dot activated minus equals, and we'll say window controller dot my profile clicked. And let's see what's going on here. Why is it mad here? That's private. We'll have to make it public. Or we'll have to make a public. Let's just make a method I can call. What am I thinking here, dude? That's way easier. What am I doing with my life here? Let's just make a method that does this. We'll say here, we'll just call it will close. And we'll just start the call it will close. And there we go. So now we just have to get the controller back from the delegate and just call that. Look at me making my life more difficult than it needs to be. Close. And this will cause my memory to basically get cleaned up. And now I can put a breakpoint in here to validate that this is running. That will take my delegate out, and puppies and kittens and rainbows. The universe will be cool again. I think Python developers mostly develop with camel case. It's just Pythonic way of coding with one-liners and lambdas. I've got a lot of arguments with Python developers over the years over this particular snake case conversation, even on Twitter. And it seems like that is the standard according to the Python documentation, which I'm just not a fan of. I agree with you. I try to use Python case when I can, but I also try to conform to the language defaults. You know, if a language has a certain default, I try to do my best to stay there. And there it is. There is my memory being cleaned up when the window closes. That is cool. I'm going to hit the continue button here, and that means that my code is clean. I know that that's cool and stuff. I probably should write some tests pretty soon for this, but I really don't have a lot going on here right now. I just got this fake mock authentication service. So it's mostly been UI that I'm working on right now. And so because of that, not a lot. I mean, I could write some UI tests for that, I guess, but we're pretty early days here. Yeah, hey, I'm not a fan of snake case, but I know the Python documentation. Oh, let me see here. Let me just go back and zoom in here, see where we are with this. This looks cool. We've got our buttons. We can start doing delegates for those tomorrow at lunch. But if I remember right, well, just ask Copilot. What is the default coding standard for Python? Is it snake case or Pascal? Is it snake case? Yes, the default convention for Python is specified in PEP 8 in the style guide for PEP 8. And according to PEP 8, is to use snake case. Yeah, I should check PEP 8. Let's see, code layout. Where do we got it? Style, code styles, naming conventions. Here we go. Probably in naming conventions. The naming conventions of Python's library are a bit of a mess, and we'll never get this completely consistent. Nonetheless, that kind of explains that. Let's see here. So they're saying camel case, cap words with underscores. This is snake case. This sucks. This is ugly. The following naming conventions are commonly distinguished. I hate lowercase. I hate these right here. I absolutely cannot stand underscores. Not in method names and stuff. So they're saying that you should use this for internal use only. That's actually what we kind of do in .NET, to tell you the truth. The .NET, it's not really a rule. It's not really a rule, but in .NET, I've worked on a lot of .NET projects in my career. Let me tell you, a ton of them. And it's almost always the standard that when you have a internal reference to a read-only, that it should always come with an underscore before it. And that way you know the difference between this that's passed in or a variable you're making here versus something that you are using internally. And when you read the code, it makes it more readable. Now this is bad because I'm not using var. Wait, inline out. What's it saying here? It's saying inline out. So context actions. It's saying I could inline the out with new C# goodness. Oh, look at that. That saves a whole lot of code by just basically defining it in the out. Hey, I'll do that. I'll do that any day of the week. That looks like it's way cleaner. All right, cool. Our IDE helping us out, making our code look cleaner. So anytime there's a little green line that tells you that you can clean up your code a little bit, I usually try to follow that. That gives me better, cleaner code. And I don't necessarily always remember every syntax in C#, but I feel like this is pretty good now. Now, the one thing I don't like is this window did load method being overloaded with a bunch of crap inside of it. So I'm going to make a method called will open or will load. And I'm gonna just basically put all my code that I'm gonna do for all my buttons in there, because there's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot coming up, and then what we'll do is we'll just call will load. And now I have a pattern of saying, hey, whenever I load, I run the will load, and then this could be private probably because we'll never use it outside of ourselves. But this we know we're calling from our delegates, so we'll definitely do that there. And we probably could have the delegate also do this, but the delegate's more designed for other lifecycle events. We know when did load and will load are part of the standard controllers, so that's actually clean here. I think this is a clean way to end it up. I mentioned camel case is quite outdated. I never liked the camel case. Yeah. I used a combination of either camel case, Pascal case sometimes back in the old days. Like I said, I try to follow the language, what everybody else says to do. And then usually it's a team thing. Usually you're on a development team and they'll say, this is the thing, this is our style that we're going to do. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do it like that then. That's usually the answer. And I try not to buck the system too much, because then you look like an outlaw and nobody wants to work with you. And so if everybody agrees on the team that we're going to code in a certain way, I will just follow the system. This is saying that we don't need these using statements, so let's remove unused using statements from there. That'll clean up a little bit of code. Let's go back here and just take a look and see if there's anything else it wants us to clean up real quick. I usually will do a build and look at the warnings. And so here, see these little warnings here? We got 2 warnings. And it's saying here that this is nullable. And what is it saying to do here? Oh, it's just saying change the signature. Okay, really? That's what you're saying? I think we could just... I think it's mad because it thinks this could be null. Oh, I think what it's saying is if... No, it's a method name. It can't be null. Text field changed is literally the name of the method that this runs right here. It will always not be null. So we probably could have suppressed that error. Should probably just suppress. Well, I don't want to suppress that error either, though, because other times it may not be that, and then it's going to be really not useful. So let's see what else is going on here. All that is right. According to the warnings, the only 2 we have here are these 2. Let me suppress, see if I can suppress this for this line. Nope. Usually there's a suppression thing. You can say, hey, just for this one line. Oh, it's username that it's saying is not null. Oh, well, duh. That's actually not bad here. Okay, that's a good call. That is a good call. It would be the same thing here. They would basically want this, and they'd say text field username dot changed. That's what they're saying here. But that's not technically speaking the code standard that I use. I usually use this because it makes it more readable. And every team I've been on it does not use single line ifs, because from a code maintenance standpoint, if you forget that it's a single line if, you have a bunch of problems. So most teams I've worked on will do it like that, and that's better. Let's do a build and see if that gets rid of the errors, and if it does, we're gonna call it a day. I gotta get back to work. So what do we see here now? We're still saying the same thing though. It's still saying that no both reference type of object sender does not match type object. Oh, so it's saying here in the signature, I bet. That's what it's saying here. I think that's what, oh, that's the wrong method. That's not it. It's the method down here that's mad about. Let's see if that fixes it. Build. There it is. No warnings whatsoever. Oh man, I I will be able to sleep better at night that we've got rid of all of our warnings. And it's a good idea to just constantly, before you check in code, make sure that your warnings and errors don't show up. If I do a PR, I don't want warnings. If I have warnings and I feel like I've disappointed the team, I should be resolving any of those warnings that come up. So I just did that. So I think this is a good place to stop the stream. Well, thank everybody for coming for the lunch stream. It was a little bit long today, and I'm gonna have to work a couple hours late here to catch up. But I feel like we got a bunch of code done. We answered some good questions. We had some great conversations. Thanks, Clive, for joining us in YouTube, and everyone over on Twitch. And if you're watching on demand, a reminder that the lunch stream is every day, usually around 12 Central Time, but sometimes it'll be a little bit later. It's whenever I can get a chance to get lunch. Sometimes meetings will go over by a couple minutes, and so the lunch stream is a few minutes late. Today it was late by about a half hour, but I want to thank everybody for attending. All the folks out there, I want to thank you for watching, and the next one we're going to go through and get these views.